The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Tejano. At least 2 NCR mayors have tested positive for COVID-19 and are now undergoing isolation. Navotas Mayor Toby Tiangco announced his status over the weekend. He advised everyone who had interacted with him over the past weeks to closely observe if they will present any symptoms. Tiangco also said that he will still try his best to perform his duties as mayor, even while on a 14-day isolation. Earlier, Pasay City Mayor Emmy Calixto Rubiano also announced that she tested positive for COVID-19. This is her second time to catch the virus, after also testing positive back in February of last year. Israel is expanding its second booster campaign to accommodate those over the age of 60. This as it currently faces a surge in COVID-19 infections. Speaking on national television, Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett said that giving older Israelis an additional booster shot, their 4th dose in total, will provide a new layer of protection. Earlier, Bennett warned that Israel will soon see tens of thousands of cases a day as the Omicron variant continues to spread. What is monoclonal antibody treatment and how does this benefit COVID-19 patients? Dr. James Crow, the director of the Vanderbilt vaccine, provides the answers on Bloomberg Markets America. Let's listen in.
Dr. Crow, let's start off by just a little bit of a definition here. What are monoclonal antibodies and how do they help with this pandemic?
Right, that's a great question. The antibodies are the body's natural defense molecules. After you've been vaccinated or infected, your body spreads lots of antibodies all over the body to protect yourself against getting reinfected. So with modern technologies, we can go in and sample the blood and pull out infection-fighting cells, white blood cells, and we can make a single antibody that can do the job for a particular virus. So that single antibody is called a monoclonal antibody. They've been used in cancer and autoimmunity. There's over 100 of these that are licensed for use in humans, but they haven't been used for infectious disease very much, and COVID is the first time where we see them really being deployed as an important tool for medical use.
What a world we live in. Antibodies can be licensed. I love that. That's crazy. Let's talk about what the possibilities are, Dr. Crow, in terms of helping humanity even beyond this pandemic. What else can we do with this kind of technology?
Well, one of the most exciting things that's going on right now is that a new use of antibodies, a new technology has been rolled out. So there are now what are called long-acting antibodies. Typically antibodies, after we give them, they have a half-life of only about 3 weeks, so they keep decreasing very rapidly and cleared from your body. But now there are engineered antibodies that will last for a very long time. They're called long-acting antibodies, and one of these has now been approved under EUA by the FDA for use in preventing COVID in high-risk individuals like immunocompromised people who can't be vaccinated. And so this technology is not only good for preventing COVID now, but now we know it's safe and it works. We can use it for other diseases. So we have launched a new initiative called AHEAD 100 to prepare and stockpile this type of technology for the 100 most likely causes of future epidemics. You know, the technology is here now, we just need to deploy it.
So, Doctor, how are we, if at all, employing it for this coronavirus, this pandemic? What are the applications?
Well, most of the antibodies that have been approved under EUA by the FDA so far have been for treatment or protecting someone after exposure. But there's a new one out now that was developed with my university, Vanderbilt University, in cooperation with AstraZeneca. It's called Evusheld, and this is a prevention antibody. So we give it by just a shot. It's not an infusion, a shot that prevents COVID. And there are about 5 million people who have risk factors or immunocompromised who cannot be vaccinated properly right now. So this drug is now available under EUA all over the United States for patients at risk. So we're using it for COVID, but at the same time, we're seeing that the technology is now available for other infectious diseases, and that's what our HEAD 100 program is all about.
In light of the rising number of cases of COVID-19 in Metro Manila, NCR mayors have agreed to impose a cap on the capacities of various establishments. To tell us all about this, we have Gerard de la Peña joining us on the line. Gerard, what specific establishments are allowed to still operate?
Well, Charles, Metro Manila mayors will once again impose stricter guidelines in light of the rising cases of COVID-19. As the national government once again placed Metro Manila under Alert Level 3, Metro Manila mayors agreed to impose caps on capacities of various establishments. In a press conference this morning, MMDA Chairman Benhur Abalos, who also sits as chairman of the Metro Manila Council, said entry into establishments such as tourist attractions, amusement parks, cinemas, salons, barbershops, and spas and the like are allowed, and they are allowed to operate. Only that the allowable capacity was brought down to 30% from 50%. Abalos said additional 10% capacity will be allowed if the establishments have safety seals from the Trade Department. Similarly, gatherings such as meetings, parties, funerals, if death is caused other than COVID and the like shall be allowed, but subject to capacity cap and strict observance of health protocols. But the Metro Manila mayors agreed in principle to impose restrictions on the mobility of those who are not yet vaccinated against COVID-19. Abalos said unvaccinated individuals are to stay at home and be prohibited from entry into any establishment, as well as in public transportation, except when procuring essential goods and services. Abalos said that while vaccination rate in Metro Manila has already reached 105%, those unvaccinated are the most vulnerable, hence the restriction on their mobility. The same restriction is applied on minors, except when procuring essential goods and services. Abalos, however, noted that there will be no curfew imposed as the restrictions should suffice for now. Charles, Abalos said these are approved in principle and are only announced today so that everyone may prepare. The implementation will depend on how fast each local government unit are able to pass resolutions in the respective councils. Charles.
Thank you, Gerard de la Peña. A riot in the New Bilibid prison claimed the lives of at least 3 inmates. At least 14 persons deprived of liberty or PDLs are injured. Bucor spokesperson Gabriel Chaclag says violence erupted between 2 dormitories in the maximum security compound. Those who lost their lives were killed by bullets from improvised firearms, which are prohibited in the facility. Bucor says they have confiscated the improvised weapons used during the riot, and investigations into the clash are still ongoing.
Initially ay nagkakansaran lamang yung magkatabing story at pagkatapos nung nila ay may paputok at doon ng kaguluhan. Marami pong member ito nasali.
After a gold at 2021, Filipino Olympians continue to make waves on the international scene. Weightlifting champ Heidelin Diaz confirmed that she'll try to snare a second Olympic gold in the 2024 Paris Games. In a series of social media posts, Diaz can be seen holding a replica of the Eiffel Tower, making it clear that she's not yet done making her country proud. Meanwhile, pole vaulter EJ Obiena ranked as World Athletics 3rd best for 2021. That's with his 5.93 finish at the Golden Roof Challenge in Innsbruck, Austria back in September. Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. Starting today, Metro Manila reverts to stricter alert level 3 due to increasing COVID-19 cases. The Health Department reports 4,600 new COVID-19 infections. And leisure travel to Baguio City has been suspended amid the threat of the Omicron variant. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.
Two, three, check, check.